In the early 1600s, the West African coast was a landscape of shifting sands and brutal ambitions. The Portuguese Empire was expanding its reach, seeking to turn the kingdom of Ndango into a mere factory for the slave trade. In 1622, a woman named Nzinga Mbande was sent to the colonial capital of Luanda to negotiate peace. She was the sister of the king, but she possessed a mind sharper than any general's. When she entered the governor's office, she found only one chair, occupied by the Portuguese governor, João Correia de Sousa. It was a calculated insult designed to force her to stand like a common subject. Without blinking, Nzinga signaled a loyal attendant who knelt on all fours, creating a living throne. Nzinga sat, leveled her gaze at the governor, and spoke as a sovereign equal. In that moment, the Portuguese realized they weren't dealing with a victim, but a titan. The peace did not last. When her brother died and the Portuguese betrayed their treaties, Nzinga did not flee. She transformed. She seized the throne and realized that traditional warfare could not defeat European gunpowder. She led her people east, conquering the kingdom of Matamba and turning it into a fortress of resistance. She reorganized her society into a military machine, welcoming escaped slaves and training them into elite guerrilla units. Nzinga was a master of psychological warfare. She reportedly dressed as a male warrior and commanded her harem of male concubines to dress as women. She wasn't just a queen, she was a symbol of total defiance who outmaneuvered the Portuguese at every turn, using the thick African jungles as her greatest ally. For 4 decades, Nzinga was the great thorn in the side of the Portuguese Empire. She was a brilliant diplomat who played European powers against each other, forming a strategic alliance with the Dutch to squeeze the Portuguese out of her territory. Even in her 60s, she was seen on the front lines, spear in hand, leading her soldiers into the heat of battle. She fought until the very end, finally forcing the Portuguese to sign a treaty recognizing her as the legitimate ruler of Matamba. When she passed away at age 81, she left behind a kingdom that had never been fully conquered during her lifetime. Queen Nzinga remains a legendary figure, a woman who used her wit, her iron will, and her sword to preserve the dignity of her people against the rising tide of colonialism.